Hello, my name is Sarah Sloan, and you're listening to The Sarah Sloan Show. All right, it's pink in here. I did some pink lighting because it's the season of love. But the reality is whenever you do pink lighting, no matter what, it just looks like red, and then it's creepy because it reminds you of a place that you would imagine is red. So it doesn't end up looking so romantic in the end, but I tried. I hope you guys are doing well. Are you doing well? You need to tell me. Be honest with me. Don't lie to me. I'm your friend. Thought we were all friends here. So there's a lot going on in the world. I guess we got to start off with the most important story. You know, the UFOs, unidentified flying objects. Any of these things that everyone's talking about, the possibility of aliens and all that. I'm sorry. I'm more on the team. I don't think there are any aliens. I think that we probably would have discovered it by now. And then everyone's like, oh, but if you look at the whole galaxy, you know, the odds are that there would be aliens. And okay, that's just kind of silly to say. So it doesn't prove anything. It's just a statement that doesn't prove anything. But it makes it seem like it makes sense, but it doesn't. There's no aliens. And if I'm wrong and some aliens start strutting across the earth and fly in with some nice, mean attitude, I will be the first to apologize. And I'll say, I'm sorry, aliens. I didn't know. I thought that you guys were fake. And maybe we just get to know each other and talk. And then we'll talk and it'll go really well. But yeah, there's like 3 objects. And the U.S. government was just being really weird about it. Not giving a lot of information and details. Oh, wait, that's what they always do. And so then it makes people just think more and more, oh, this is something actually really suspicious and weird. But then it doesn't end up being that. I don't know what it was. And of course, we had just had this Chinese spy balloon, which I will admit, I didn't know that was a thing. Like usually you see balloons at birthday parties and things along those lines, or like a hot air balloon, but I didn't know there were spy balloons. So I'm learning all kinds of things. Get this. So China, they said that the U.S. sent balloons 10 times into their territory in 2022. And then they deny sending balloons towards us, but we literally shot one down. And there was a funny video where this comedian, basically they were showing like footage of what the spy balloon saw. And it was just him like very overweight and just dancing with his shirt off. It's just like, that's what the spy balloon saw. It was pretty funny. I at least thought it was. Okay. So I thought that this was a really interesting video. Basically, the House brought in former Twitter executives to kind of answer questions about like Hunter Biden's laptop, that whole incident, and them suppressing that story whenever the New York Post originally put that up and everything. And you know that a lot of people believe that the election wasn't stolen, that Trump didn't win and Biden won fair and square. But that is one area where a lot of people can't deny that probably affected the elections, because it was a negative story regarding Joe Biden that was taken away from the press. You couldn't even see their stuff. Suppressing stories that make a certain candidate look bad, while perfectly fine with other stories going out about the other candidate. And then you got to say, oh, okay, well, it's just misinformation. Well, the Russia story didn't really pan out, that Trump was colluding with Russia. That didn't really pan out. And that was allowed to go all over the media circuit, all over Twitter, Facebook, everything else. And that was no issue. So it's a double standard. So they were brought in for questioning now that the Republicans had the majority of the House. And they had to answer a lot of questions. But this Democrat, I think he's just had enough of it all. And he just starts going off on Republicans, and I found it slightly amusing.
Twitter. Let's talk about God bless Elon Musk. See these? God bless the guy who is allowing Nazis and anti-Semitism to perpetrate Twitter. There's been a 66% increase of anti-Semitism on Twitter since Elon Musk set it free. Mr. Chairman, I agree with you. It's not fair to say all conservatives are Nazis. That's preposterous. That's not true. But your Lord and Savior Donald Trump is having tea and dinner with them at Mar-a-Lago. Nick Fuentes right here, who's a picture that is tweeted at me all the time saying Jews are a virus in response to my tweets. Donald Trump's having dinner with him. Nazis at Mar-a-Lago. And so, no, not all Republicans are Nazis, but I got to tell you, Nazis seem really comfortable with Donald Trump. So I have questions about that, Mr. Chairman. Why is that? Why do I get these tweets? Let's talk about Kanye West, right? The chairman of the Judiciary Committee for 3 months praising Kanye West. We love Kanye, right? A Nazi. Clearly now. It took months for that tweet to come down. How come? I mean, these are things I'd love to know. Is it because maybe they're your voters? I mean, they certainly aren't voting for me.
So this is a really, I think, a lame, weak argument. He should have done better. It's so unfair. It's such an unfair thing to say that just because a certain person votes for you, that you are somehow responsible for that person because they voted for you. You're going to tell me that no crazy person, no wild person at all voted for this guy? None? There has to at least be one, maybe just one crazy person. I'm sure the rest of them are completely normal, and there's nobody else crazy that voted for him. You're not responsible for who voted for you. And also, do I think it was a good thing that Nick Fuentes met with the president? It's probably not the best thing in the world, no, but he learned from it. He learned not to meet with him again. I don't know who his team is that allows people to come in and meet with him, with Trump, but I'm sure he learned a powerful lesson. Don't do that again. And guess what? We're allowed to make mistakes. Oh, man. What a crazy concept that we're allowed to make mistakes. Because we really shouldn't be. We should have to be perfect forever. And it is a good thing that Twitter is now controlled by Elon Musk. It is a good thing for people to be able to hear other opinions. Because guess what? You guys have been trying to suppress opinions and suppress ideas and thoughts. And where has it gotten you? All it does is create echo chambers. People go to other forums where they can communicate with people that are like-minded, and they get crazier and crazier and crazier. It's good for there to be conflict. It's good for people to be held in check. So I don't know what he's really suggesting. He's basically just saying Republicans are absolutely disgusting. Even earlier in the clip, he was talking about how the Hunter Biden laptop story is probably not even true. It's stupid. This whole thing is stupid. Well, if it was so stupid, then why didn't you let the New York Post just report about it and let people see how stupid it is, how stupid the story is? But no, it was being suppressed. When you try to hide something, why would you try to hide your opponent's stupidity? Let their stupidity fly. Let people see it. This guy is silly. Would I vote for him? Does that make me a Nazi? And the crazy thing is, I don't even see Democrats as just, I don't see them as their worst people. Because there's some crazy radical Democrats. But the majority of Democrats that I know are very civil, kind people that are not trying to just burn everything up, trash buildings, things along those lines, that absolutely hate white people to their core. That's not the majority of Democrats. So it's unfair to paint a broad brush. I don't appreciate it, and nobody here does. Nobody listening does. All right. And then Lauren Boebert, Republican from Colorado, very famous. She starts going off on the former executives of Twitter. Basically they shadow banned her. Then they were also really working closely with the FBI, which is a little sketchy. Because you don't want the FBI controlling what major companies do, especially companies that control free speech. That's not good. Last time I checked. So let's listen to Lauren.
Contact with FBI was constant and pervasive, as if it were a subsidiary. Now, I want to better understand why he would suggest that. Mr. Roth, while at Twitter, how many meetings did you have with the FBI?
I couldn't say for sure, but I
More
would say
than 10?
That's a reasonable
More than 20?
estimate. I couldn't say for sure.
More than 50?
That seems a bit high.
Many meetings with the FBI. Well, we know how many FBI agents worked at Twitter while you were there?
I don't believe any active FBI agents.
Former FBI agents. How many worked there while you were there?
I'm aware of perhaps 2.
Well, we know of at least 9 because they started the BU group chat, BU for Bureau. Now, Mr. Roth, did the FBI ever ask you to share information like users' communication data without going through proper legal channels?
No, they did not, and I would have refused if they had.
That's correct. I see that you denied Agent Chan's request for access to Twitter's data feed. What's sick isn't that you would deny it, it's that the FBI would even ask you for the private data of American citizens without going through legal channels of the law. Now, I want to remind you, Mr. Roth, that you are under oath. Did the FBI ever ask you to do anything that was illegal or questionably legal?
I'm not a lawyer, but certainly not to the best of my recollection or knowledge.
Now, from the hearing that I've been a part of today, it's almost impossible to tell where the FBI ends and where Twitter begins. We have Mr. Baker here, a former FBI agent, and there seems to be a revolving door between the FBI and Twitter itself. Even Mr. Baker said that there was no collusion with the federal government and Twitter. But Mr. Baker, that's you. You are the collusion between the federal government and the FBI. And now this is such a problem because we're seeing censorship all over. Mr. Roth, Miss Gaddy, did either of you approve the shadow banning of my account at Lauren Boebert? Yes or no?
No, I did not.
Not to the best of my recollection.
Well, let me refresh your memory because on March 12th, 2021, and Mr. Roth, I know you looked at it because Fascist Twitter 1.0 had a public interest exceptions policy, which means for members of Congress to be shadow banned, it had to go before you, Mr. Roth. So I'll ask again, did you shadow ban my account? Yes or no?
Again, not to the best of my recollection.
So the answer is, Mr. Roth, yes, you did. I found out last night from Twitter staff that you suppressed my account for this tweet. It's a freaking joke.
Okay, real quick. She's so good. And she's just going off, and I love it. Oh, I love it. I need more of it. They're liars. And the thing that's different about Twitter than other social medias is it's really more of an elitist form of social media because a lot of journalists go on there, a lot of political commentators go on there, and then they really they fight. And you don't see as much of that on Instagram, on Facebook, on TikTok. And I think it's just kind of the nature of the type of format. And it doesn't really allow for that kind of fighting in the first place. Because with Instagram, it's just photos and you have comments. It's just not as likely to happen. So Twitter almost asked for that kind of discourse to even occur. And yes, Mr. Baker literally worked for the FBI. And so it was pretty funny that he was the one saying, no, there's no collusion. She calls him out on it. It's just the lie is sitting right there in front of you. It really is crazy. And if the shoe was on the other foot, people would probably begin to care, the people that seem to matter in the culture. I thought people like me mattered, but I realized that we don't. And that makes me very upset. I'm not going to throw hands or anything, but I'm getting there. But Mr. Roth, he literally lied to her face. He was the one that approved it. And he's like, I didn't, to the best of my recollection. Just because he doesn't want to say it to her face right then and there. I wish she would have hopped over that desk and given him a piece of her mind. That's what I wish would have happened.
About Hillary Clinton being angry that she couldn't rig her election. It's a joke, but in response, being the sinister overlords that you all are, you placed a 90-day account filter so I could not be found. And now we see here that Twitter staff said the visibility filter on my account excluded me from top searches, prevented notifications for non-followers, and much more. This is considered an aggressive visibility filter. You silenced members of Congress from communicating with their constituents. You silenced me from communicating with the American people over a freaking joke. Now, who the hell do you think that you are? Election interference? Yeah, I would say that was taking place because of you four sitting here. The Hunter Biden laptop story was suppressed. A sitting member of Congress was suppressed. A sitting president was banned from Twitter. You know, I bet that Putin is sitting in the Kremlin wishing he had as much election interference as you four here today. We've heard about threats to democracy. Well, what about shutting down a duly elected member of Congress? This is fundamental to our nation's governance, and you all attacked that very foundation. 230 protections? Well, those are for publishers, not for editors. And it's clear you were not acting as publishers, you were acting as editors. And Mr. Chairman, I think it's far past time that we remove 230 protections for big tech platforms who are abusing this protection. And let me just say, I'm not angry for myself. I'm not angry because I was silenced. I can reach out to Elon and to his staff, and I can see what's happened. And I can sit here today and hold you all in account. I am angry for the millions of Americans who were silenced because of your decisions, because of your actions, because of your collusion with the federal government. They can't reach out to Elon. They can't sit here today and hold you into account. We don't know where the FBI ends and Twitter begins.
Oh, so powerful. It's basically, you know, if it was even set out like a secret plan, let's try to, you know, make Biden look better than Trump during the presidential campaign, just to make sure that, you know, he'll definitely get it. So, there's this bad story coming out about Biden and his son. Well, Twitter, just, you know, let's put down that story. Let's make sure that that's not really out there. Do you mind? And then they're like, yeah, we'll do it. Okay, this person seems pretty influential. Can you take them down as well? Oh, can you make sure that these people don't get as many followers or as much attention to their page? Can you kind of block that just so, you know, people don't read their stuff and maybe they're convinced by it somehow? Because all it takes is one person to read one thing and they're completely swayed to a certain opinion. People don't have any free thought at all. And they're not allowed to read different opinions and come to their own conclusions. We got to stop that. It gets kind of sketchy at that point. And so, and then what she said at the end there was really good about that Section 230 protection, the concept of being a publisher and then being an editor. And they've had these protections because they just say, hey, we just host the platform and people can say what they want. So we shouldn't be responsible for what those people say. If someone goes on there and says, let's kill every American with a knife and a gun, Twitter's not responsible for that. So then they have protections because they really are just a platform. But then they're also, on the other hand, censoring certain people, stopping certain things. So then they're acting like editors. In the end, if you go to Twitter, it's going to look this way. We won't allow on this, or this. Well, now you're not really sounding like a platform that has no opinion. You're sounding like an editor. So then if you really can't have it both ways because those are serious protections from the government. So let's strip those babies and strip them good. Okay. And let's see. Let's go to a verse first. Okay, so this is Psalm 34, verse 1. I will bless the Lord at all times. His praise shall continually be in my mouth. My soul shall make its boast in the Lord. The humble shall hear of it and be glad. Oh, magnify the Lord with me, and let us exalt his name forever. If we have positive things about the Lord in our mouth, does it affect us? If we have negative things in our mouth, does that affect us? Well, if someone's talking pretty negative to me, I don't really want to be around them. If people are talking positively to me, it makes me a little bit more interested in talking to them. Call me crazy, but that is kind of the way things are. I know, this is wild stuff, very complicated. The humble are basically attracted to and glad whenever we boast in the Lord. Humble people are good people. Prideful people are annoying as heck. I know, this is like groundbreaking stuff. So much of the Bible is just simple truths, and we make it complicated, but we shouldn't. So then they say, oh, magnify the Lord with me and let us exalt his name together. It's good to worship with people. If you're just trying to do everything on your own, well, what was the point of creating a planet where we all live together? We might as well have just had our own places, our own planets, all just tiny planets by ourselves. But then how would we procreate if we were alone? It sounds like we need each other. So if we need each other just in the sense of existing, we probably need each other in the sense of community and upliftment. If you look at a lot of people who are getting depressed, they like to live in seclusion. And they want to be alone as much as possible. That can bring you down. It's good to be around people if you can, especially good people. There's so much to learn from just these 3 verses. But this is a great chapter. I'll probably go through more of it in the future. Psalm 34. Give it a read. Give it a read if you have the time. Okay, so let's take a look. Basically with the Super Bowl, they have their performances and stuff. Let me tell you how much I care about football. Nothing. I care nothing about football. Football is so boring. I don't understand the appeal. You're basically just trying to get to a certain line with a ball and people flip out. And they care so much about this dumb little sport. It's insane to me. But yeah, there were some interesting things that happened in the Super Bowl. Like they had 2 national anthems. That was kind of crazy. National anthem. So a national anthem should be one song for a whole nation. So we shouldn't have 2. It's one song that unites us all. So there was kind of an anthem that's kind of known to be like the black person's anthem. And so it almost seems like we're segregating our society. I thought we were fighting against that in the 60s, the 50s, or whatever it was. I thought we wanted our people together. But now it's like we're segregating ourselves again. Shall we have separate water fountains? And everyone's like, oh my gosh, how could you even say that? That's so crazy. Well, then why should we have separate national anthems? Let's unify. We're a country with different people. We need to love and accept each other. Not try to separate ourselves. We did that in the past. Let's not do it again. Just people don't listen to me. But they need to. Oh, and then Rihanna, she did the halftime show. She didn't take off all her clothing. That was cool. Because a lot of people have been showing too much skin for comfort, if you ask me, in the past. But she was pregnant when she did the show. And apparently she was lip syncing, which is not cool. If you're paid to sing, she was probably paid so much money to do that performance. You need to sing. Next time, I'm going to have to do the performance next year. And I'm going to sing for real. People may not like what they hear, but I will sing. Okay, and then there was a Super Bowl ad, and it was Jennifer Lopez and Ben Affleck, and it was for Dunkin'. So, yeah, let me play this ad. It was funny.
A donut for an incremental dollar. Like, how can it be this inexpensive and good?
Cream, no sugar.
I was gonna have to just give you 10 munchkins. You look a little lost. 1 second, I'm trying to find the bagels. Do I look familiar? Oh. Should I be in it, or you want just use the self-portrait?
What are you doing here?
Embarrass me in front of my
Is this what you do when you say you want to work all day?
I gotta go, guys.
It was so funny. J-Lo just makes everything funny. But yeah, Ben Affleck is an interesting guy. I wonder how that relationship is actually going, because it just seemed like a quick rebound after A-Rod. J-Lo, A-Rod. I like the way that their names flowed. But yeah, we'll see. People really, really liked this ad. But it was just so... J-Lo is just so likable. I think that's really the secret of it. She is so likable. I love that woman. I don't even know why, but I love her. I love her. She probably doesn't even know I exist. Hey, J-Lo. But guys, thank you so much for listening to me, for caring about me. I care about you guys, and I hope that you go about your week just without a chip on your shoulder, and that you become the chip off the old block. We say so many sayings with chip. It's kind of weird. Once again, have a wonderful week and stay true to who you are. Remember, there's only one you. Everyone else is taken. All right. Goodbye.